after his historic 18-day mission to the International Space Station. So he's currently bobbing up and down in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of San Diego, and very soon he will be hoisted up to the ship, and then using a helicopter they would take the crew onto the land, and from there on to Houston for his rehabilitation and debriefing. So Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla has created history for India by becoming the second Indian to go to space and come back safely. He did close to 60 experiments along with the Hungarian, American and the Polish astronauts. 7 of them were India-specific experiments. There was also some outreach activities with school students, including his alma mater, which is the City Montessori School of Lucknow. And he also participated in a conversation with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, where he described India as being bhavya. He also did some on-board outreach in the ham radios, and also participated in a zero-gravity experimentation project for outreach. So Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, who's really part of India's Gaganyaan program, the easy part of Gaganyaan, the first firm steps have been laid. This was a trip which was taken on
shall we just listen in to what's happening over here?
Yes.
Flying for a second time on a Dragon spacecraft. At SpaceX, we're trying to make these vehicles reusable, just like aircraft when you fly and fly over again multiple times a day, and we're getting closer and closer to that with the same crew members flying again, which is awesome.
And it's important to note, right, that kind of mission-to-mission lineage, right, allows crew members like Peggy Whitson, like Michael Lopez Alegria, to better help inform the next crews that are coming with them, right? The more familiarity that you get with the vehicle, the better equipped you are on your mission. And I, as a personal Peggy super fan, I could not imagine a more fitting astronaut to be able to give a name to a new vehicle. I love the messaging behind why they chose to name it Grace. And to your point, Jesse, about the frequent flyers, I loved that during launch we could see I don't know if it's a new tradition potentially, but we got to see some boarding passes that SpaceX provided to the AX-4 crew, and because of her frequent flyer status, Peggy Whitson got a gold boarding pass, and I absolutely adore that she was able to have that distinction.
Yes, just add it to her resume.
Yeah, you can add it to her resume. SpaceX frequent flyer.
Yeah, I love the boarding passes. Again, always trying to make it as common as aircraft, planes that we fly on every single day.
Exactly.
And we're still just in the beginning, but I feel like we've made a lot of progress in the last 5 years, and we still have a lot of new things, new missions, and improvements that we want to make to, future spacecraft and launch vehicles. So I'm excited for the future. I really do believe that we could get to
right now is the Crew Dragon being towed back to the MV Shannon. That's the mothership. It's sort of being guided back over there. It's going to be lifted onto the deck of the Shannon, and it's over there that you'll see Shubhanshu Shukla and the others emerge from the spaceship. It's not going to be easy. They aren't going to be running out. There's a change in gravity. It feels very different. Getting their full muscle mass back into regular sync is going to take a little period of time. So that's a bit of a process as well. Pallav, I think that's something our viewers need to know, that you don't just sort of run out of
no, you don't. He's been in space at the International Space Station for 18 days, 21 flight days. So while the muscle mass loss would be lower than compared to the long duration missions which NASA and Russian astronauts do, but yes, there is difficulty in walking when you come out from near zero gravity or microgravity. So we will see Group Captain Shukla and the 3 astronauts being assisted. In fact, Commander Peggy Whitson has said while she goes into space and experiences microgravity, she doesn't face any problems. While she comes back on Earth with gravity in store, she faces a lot of problems. And Group Captain Shukla also mentioned from the International Space Station that when he went up, he faced space sickness. So he says, hopefully, he will not face space sickness, sickness because of gravity when he comes out of the Grace capsule. Right now, the Grace capsule is being slowly brought close to the MV Shannon. There's a hydraulic lift which will lift it, and we can see the nest on which the Grace capsule is going to be placed. The Grace capsule is being used for the very first time. It's a maiden flight for this particular spaceship which has been made by SpaceX, and this is the last of the Grace of the capsules which SpaceX has made. There are 5 to be made. They have made 5.
And these are all reusable, right?
Yes, the Grace capsule is reusable and it will be used for further flights as well. Initially there was some concern that it's a maiden flight for Grace, but then Commander Peggy Whitson put everything at ease, saying they are comfortable with flying with a new vehicle, and now we've seen the new vehicle has performed excellently. Remember, it was the rocket which was creating problems when the flight was going up, but the Grace capsule has performed excellently, and we are seeing the Grace capsule slowly being brought close to motor vessel MB Shannon, and then it will be lifted up, and then the Grace capsule is brought closer inside to place where there is a stand from which, after the hatch is opened, the side hatch was closed on June 25th when the astronauts entered the capsule, and it will be opened now for the first time after the flight is over. And then we will see the 4 astronauts coming out one by one. It is going to be a historic moment for us to witness.
All right. Well, let's just hold on for half a second. We're joined by Air Vice Marshal Deepak Gaur and also Dr. Apurva Jakhadi, space educator and advisor to the Yashwantrao Chavan Planetarium in Nashik. Dr. Jakhadi, this moment for you, what does it mean?
It's a remarkable moment for all of us. For me, particularly as an educator, I see Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla. We just witnessed his safe return to Earth, and it means a lot for us, particularly for the young professional space professionals who are looking at Shubhanshu Shukla as a role model. And this Crew Dragon re-entry, the moment it entered the Earth's atmosphere, and from there to splashdown, these moments were extremely exciting. And looking at the safety point of view, when we look at the safety of all these astronauts, this means a lot for all of us.
Okay. Air Marshal Gaur, could you tell us, some of the challenges that Group Captain Shukla might face, adjusting to gravity?
Yes, thank you, Vishnu, for sharing these wonderful videos of the splashdown and what we are seeing now. So when he's been exposed to zero gravity for these 17 or 18 days now, very soon this leads to what we call decompensation of the cardiovascular as well as the neurovestibular system. So when he comes back into 1G, and now as he slides down from this capsule and comes out, there will be a sense of imbalance and maybe a re-entry sickness. For this, they've already been on preventive medication before they undocked. They've been taking Phenergan or promethazine tablets or suppositories. They have been taking salt capsules to build up their blood volume so that all these troubles are minimized once they are back to Earth and in one gravity. Nevertheless, these internal ears or vestibular apparatus, we have these otolith organs which are dependent upon gravity. And now they've got disused, so to say, in space, and it will take a while for them to adapt.
Pallav?
Air Vice Marshal Gaur, a very happy moment for you because you were part of the team which selected Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla as an astronaut designate for the Gaganyaan program, to see him back on Earth. You must be a very happy man, sir.
Yes, indeed, Mr. Pallav Bagla. I'm almost as excited as you. Thank you.
What was it about Shubhanshu Shukla that made you believe that he was best suited for a mission like this?
So yes, I had a detailed talk with our aviation psychologists and other doctors who were in the selection program for the final word as to who goes to this ICM mission. And what I learn is that the ability to adapt from the military bearing to a more sort of acceptable astronaut kind of traits were best in Shubhanshu. His ability to be at peace with himself, to be confident, and most importantly, to mix very well with the people, I thought played the greatest role in his being the number one for this selection.
All right, we're going to go back to live commentary for just a few moments now. Let's listen into what's happening. That is the Crew Dragon spacecraft. It's been hoisted up onto the MV Shannon, the mothership. And in a few moments from now, we expect Shubhanshu Shukla to emerge.
Dragon copies. Dragon SpaceX, capsule lift in progress, brace.
All right, good verbal confirmations there, and visual confirmations that we're getting a successful lift.
Dragon copies.
And again, those comms, crew can't see what's happening outside of the spacecraft, so letting the crew know what's happening so they understand, the vehicle moving, what those different feelings are with the spacecraft moving around.
Trying to give crew some level of situational awareness of where they are and where they're going next. So Dragon will remain in the nest during the crew extraction and for the journey back into port. The spacecraft is currently was just lifted, as you saw, and set on the nest. And from here, it'll be centered and oriented. And then from there, Dragon will be translated into the hangar underneath the helipad aboard the ship so that we can then open the hatch. And once open, a SpaceX medical doctor will be the first one in to check on the crew to see if they are ready to egress out of the vehicle. And as we noted earlier, Axiom medical teams are also on the recovery vessel working in tandem with SpaceX staff to assess and assist the crew.
The astronauts will egress, or what we call exit, from Dragon's side hatch, pending spacecraft orientation in the water. Before opening the hatch, the spacecraft's cabin pressure must be equalized with the outside environment. Now, once the hatch is opened, that will be the Axiom 4 crew's first breath of fresh air since boarding Falcon 9 at the start of their mission on June 25th.
And that will be an exciting moment for the crew, I know. But for the crew and also for the ground crews, getting that first confirmation of your crew exiting the spacecraft, getting good medical checks, and then coming out and giving a thumbs up is something everybody wants to be able to see, and we'll be able to see it soon.
Yeah. And it looks like the spacecraft is nestled into the nest.
Dragon SpaceX, welcome aboard the recovery ship. Apology for the delayed call earlier. We are still working to transition the forward link. Recovery personnel are completing their final checks, and I will let you know when we are ready for translation across the deck to the egress platform.
Across to Richard Tribo, a senior journalist with the Orlando Sentinel, who joins us. Richard, thanks very much for being with us. So, the Crew Dragon safely on board, the mothership as it were. What happens from here onwards?
Well, from splashdown to when they finally exit the vehicle, for the last few times has taken less than an hour. So what you will see is SpaceX medical personnel helping crew out of the capsule, and then they'll wave to the camera and perhaps give a thumbs up. They will stand on their own without the help and be shuttled off for a medical check on board the ship. Eventually they will hop aboard a helicopter and be transported back to land. And then eventually everyone will make their way to their homes, India, Hungary, Poland, and for Peggy staying in the United States.
Hour or so, this entire process from here onwards?
I'm sorry?
Is it about an hour or so from here onwards by the time they're cleared medically and they actually get out?
you're going to see people out of that probably in the next 25 minutes.
Right.
They will be completely one at a time. Usually the mission specialists on the sides will exit first, and the pilot and commander exit second, but that has shifted up on occasion, depending if anybody had a rough ride coming down. But,
and in your experience and having covered this, do astronauts sometimes have a rough ride?
The ones that are up there for a long period can have, they don't have a rough ride on the splashdown, they just have a hard time dealing with Earth's gravity, having spent so long. But this, having been only about 20 days in space, 18 on the station, I don't expect they'll have much of a physical problem getting out of the capsule.
And Richard, this is a fantastic capsule itself. You know, my colleague Pallav, who's with me in the studio, and I were just talking about how it was glistening white at the time of blast off, but now it's in a it looks pretty awful, but that's because it's worked. It's protected the crew inside, and it's fairly remarkable technology because despite the intense heat that it's been through in the re-entry process, it will be reused.
That's correct. They have certified these capsules to now fly for a fifth time. One of its sister capsules is slated to launch from Kennedy Space Center as early as July 31st, and that'll be a record fifth time. That is the first of the 5 capsules in the fleet making a record flight, and this one is going to have probably its next flight perhaps before the end of the year, but certainly by next spring.
You know, and that, Richard, is remarkable, isn't it? Because it's not just cost saving, it's not just saving a lot of funds because you have reusable craft, but just being in that situation which we as kids dreamt about, you know, reusable spaceships. It is now a reality, and you know, SpaceX has made that happen, and this is very much the future of what space exploration will be all about, because economically to have spaceships which are one-time use only, I mean, it was unfeasible.
Yeah, this is a great economic benefit for the company, but also useful to the nations who take advantage of it. And SpaceX isn't alone. If Boeing can get their act together and have Starliner up and running, that would provide a feasible future, not just for visits to the International Space Station, which will continue through 2030, but potentially multiple private commercial space stations. And they're going to need as many capable spacecraft as possible to bring all of the astronauts from all the nations up to those stations.
All right, Richard, great speaking to you. Thanks so much for being with us and, you know, sharing your thoughts. For us over here in India, it is absolutely incredible to be watching this, to see just the second Indian astronaut in orbit be back on Earth, and you know, it comes a couple of years before our own manned mission, the Gaganyaan mission, blasts off. But this is a great experience for one of the astronauts on the Gaganyaan program. Pallav, any thoughts?
Oh, certainly. This is the first firm footsteps for India's Gaganyaan mission. Now, Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla has trained in Russia, in Europe, and then with NASA and with Axiom, flew on the Falcon 9 to the International Space Station, has come back safely to Earth. Now really the hard work for Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla will begin now. He has to come back. Like he told Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he is acting like a sponge, taking in all what is required so that he can translate that knowledge to the Indian Space Research Organization and its scientists and engineers for India's own human space program. The big journey for India's human space program has begun with this first baby step on the Axiom 4 mission, or which I call sometimes mission Akash Ganga. Beyond this, India expects to have its own human space program to launch on an Indian rocket from Indian soil to space by about 2027. And we already have 4 astronaut designates for that. And now we should say 1 astronaut and 3 astronaut designates, because Group Captain Shukla is now a full-fledged astronaut. And then Prime Minister Narendra Modi has already given a roadmap for the Indian Space Research Organization to have an Indian space station or the Bharatiya Antariksh Station by 2035, and then the ambitious task of landing an Indian on the moon by 2040. But in between, India has already signed the Artemis Accords along with America, so there could be more possibilities of Indians going to space as part of the NASA-ISRO initiative.
Right.
This is the first time where NASA and ISRO have participated very, very actively. Or what we can see now is the Crew Dragon being brought closer onto the place from where the astronauts will come out onto the stand. So we can
All right,
see.
let's just listen into the commentary for a second. Pallab.
Washing down the hatch area, again, just preparing for the vehicle's side hatch to be opened, getting some of that salt water off, maybe some of that plasma from reentry off.
Right, all nominal processes to ensure that that crew can safely egress the vehicle, but also that ground personnel are safely protected while handling the spacecraft and crew as well. So at this point, we can see SpaceX personnel positioning themselves to support in this, as well as the spacecraft making final approaches to that upper landing pad for crew to egress the vehicle.
All right, so just in a few
That
minutes from now, perhaps
freshwater
a few moments,
washdown of the hatch
we should be
area,
able
we're
to
seeing
see
some final
the hatch
wipe downs as
opening
well.
and a first glimpse of Shubhanshu Shukla ultimately. But the hatch opening, absolutely critical. Let's take a look.
For those with a keen eye as well, you can see on the side of Grace, as it was making its approach towards the upper landing, the Axiom logo proudly displayed on the spacecraft. We had some great shots during the docking footage of SpaceX, Axiom, making a beautiful image of the vehicle docked to the International Space Station. It's a little worn.
Little
but
toasty.
A little toasty.
Little toasty.
All part of nominal ops, though.
3,500 degrees Fahrenheit
That'll
will
do
do
that.
that.
Dragon, SpaceX, standby for side hatch opening and egress of some smiling faces.
Here we go.
All right, we're looking forward to it.
They are just about to open that side hatch, and again, first person that'll greet the crew will be the medical officer.
The hatch is open, and ground crews are making first contact with the Axiom 4 crew.
And you see that square looking tool, that's just a protector for the hatch seal for while the crew egresses. This is a reusable vehicle, so we are protecting both the crew as well as the spacecraft, making sure there's no damage that happens and that the crew doesn't bump their head on anything on the spacecraft.
Again, once for the benefit of our viewers, Shubhanshu Shukla back on Earth. the Crew Dragon spacecraft, now capsule safely on board the mothership. It was towed to the mothership. It's been mounted on the ship, and the crew are set to emerge anytime now. The side access door has been opened. A doctor has gone on board. I presume they'd be in the process of unstrapping the crew now, and then slowly with some assistance, because remember they've been in space, getting used to gravity takes some time, they will slowly start to emerge. Let's just listen in.
Moment. The first breath of fresh air for Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, who went into space on June 25th, and now today at 3:40 p.m. India time, he's had his first breath of fresh air back on Earth. The medical officer has come out of the hatch, and we should soon see a ramp being put on the Crew Dragon, and the first images. The first photographers are going inside to take the images of the...
Looks like we're getting, the crew's getting some first photos.
Yeah. It's a good sign that they had good initial comms with medical personnel. So this time we are now just, if you're just joining us, we're waiting for the AX-4 crew to egress or exit the Dragon spacecraft, also known as Grace, as part of the conclusion of their more than 20-day mission to the International Space Station.
You can see the crew is handing some of their cargo. That looks like their tablets that they use throughout their mission.
Making it a little easier for crew to make their way out of the spacecraft as well.
We'll see the crew starting to come out. We've got a cameraman there blocking the shot, but he will move out as we see the crew coming out. And then there will be further medical examinations, and then they're going to be put onto a helicopter and then back to the United
States. They just
States.
removed the footrests.
Right-hand side,
Gives
the
the crew
family
some
awaiting
space
these
to
final
get out of
moments.
their seats
We saw
as they
Shubhanshu
are
Shukla. This is
exiting
from
the vehicle.
Shubhanshu Shukla's school in Lucknow. All right, the first images from inside. Let's take a look.
Views of the AX-4 crew in their
Yes.
spacecraft.
I already saw some big smiles,
Yep.
as people we've all been saying.
As we wait for the AX-4 crew to egress the vehicle, you can see ground crew is still putting in aspects of I'm not going to call it rigging, but hardware to help the crew get out of the spacecraft more easily. Reminder that they've been in microgravity for a little over 20 days, and occasionally your first few steps back on Earth can be slightly challenging.
It's a little different in microgravity than dealing with the gravity here on Earth.
Now that these are night vision cameras which are actually on, it's about 3 a.m. in the morning now?
Yes, it's close to 3 a.m.
It's close to 3 a.m. Off the coast of San Diego in the Pacific Ocean. And so it's not daytime by any means. It's the middle of the night, but the SpaceX crew quite active at this stage as the crew members are unstrapped and get set to come out. It's a very slow process, a very comprehensive one. They have been medically examined. There'll be more medical examinations. They then get onto a helicopter and they fly stateside. So that's what the plan roughly is. as we wait for them to emerge, which should take place as soon as they're completely unstrapped and with some assistance.
Just now
are
joining
escorted
us,
out.
we are waiting for the AX-4 crew to exit
Vishnu, we did
the
see
Dragon
an image
spacecraft
of Group Captain
Grace.
Shukla, and he had a smile on his face. Before the after the medical
Peggy, Shuk's,
personnel came out,
Suave,
we saw a brief
and
image
Tibor
of Group Captain Shukla, and he had a smile on his
at
face,
the
which
end
was
of
which
their
was nice.
Axiom Mission 4. After 20 days in space, 18 on board the International Space Station. 18 days.
Now, this wraps up a very significant portion of the mission, but it's not entirely over. We still have a few medical checks to go, and then in addition to that, the AX-4, all the research done on the AX-4 mission is all going to be in a world of post-processing, analysis, assessment, and that's all part of it, as well as crew debriefs. So, following after crew egresses the spacecraft and gets good medical checks, at that point we'll be getting the crew back home, and then continuing the final, we'll call it terrestrial-based operations of the
That's
AX-4
right.
mission.
I guess it's more of the end of the space-facing portion of
These
the
operational
mission.
phases. Right. We're still going to take our time to get there. You can see ground crews are still working with the crew members and hardware inside. They've established some ground support equipment to help in the aid of the AX-4 crew getting out of the spacecraft.
And some of their aids are not too complex. That white platform that you see there is essentially a slide.
Yeah. But an important one.
A very important slide.
But in addition to that slide, we do have, there's a complex tool that you mentioned earlier, Jesse, about protecting the seals. We can see now crew looking to make, the first crew members looking to make their egress from spacecraft along that slide.
Sliding out.
And there she is. We see Commander Peggy Whitson, all smiles, exiting the spacecraft Grace. That is a beautiful sight. Peggy Whitson, the AX-4 commander, is home, having logged 695 days in space on 5 flights. She is the 7th on the all-time list for most days in space by a human. It's an incredible feat.
Legendary.
All right, so Shubhanshu Shukla should be up
We've
next.
had Commander Peggy Whitson exit the Dragon spacecraft. We are waiting for the remaining 3 crew members of the AX-4 crew. There's no real order to the egress. It's really up to the crew. So we're patiently waiting to see who's up next.
Right. If Peggy is in the indication, which I think she is for this particular crew, we'll see another big smile coming out of the Dragon spacecraft in a moment.
is, Shubhanshu
And we've got
Shukla.
our pilot, Shubhanshu Shukla, as our second crew member exiting the spacecraft. And some big smiles, as you said. India reached a major milestone for the nation's space exploration goals. AX-4 pilot Shubhanshu Shukla became the first astronaut to fly from the country's newly established astronaut corps. His participation marks a vital step forward for ISRO's Gaganyaan program, which aims to send Indian astronauts into space aboard domestically developed spacecraft. Shukla's flight demonstrates India's readiness to execute international missions and reflects the country's broader ambitions to become a key player in the global space community. As India continues to expand its capabilities in crewed spaceflight, this mission serves as both a proving ground and a symbol of its commitment to innovation, collaboration, and leadership in space exploration.
हाँ, सावन का महीना है, भोलेनाथ जी की कृपा है। अच्छा लग रहा है, जो है बेटा वापस चला आया है, तो ये भावुक पल है भाई उसका जो है बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। इस समय जो है हम लोग बच्चे को देखकर बहुत खुश हैं। पूरी यात्रा कैसी रही? 18 दिन रहे वहाँ पर। अच्छी रही यात्रा, अच्छी रही जैसा कि हाँ बात होती थी और लगता था आपको से बात हो रही है। अब मंत्री से बात कर लेता है थोड़ा हल्का लगता है। यही पल तो था जिसके लिए जी रहे थे। नहीं बिल्कुल उसका मिशन पूरा हुआ। ईश्वर को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और सभी देशवासियों का आभार प्रकट करते हैं। से मिलने के लिए नहीं बिल्कुल बहुत अच्छा लगा। बहुत मिलना कब होगा? अब मिलना 15 दिन लग जाएंगे। उनका इंतजार है, किस तरीके से स्वागत की तैयारी है? नहीं बहुत भव्य स्वागत करेंगे हम लोग जो है बिल्कुल एंजॉय करेंगे, पार्टी करेंगे, पूरा बैंड बाजे के साथ स्वागत करेंगे। जो कुछ होगा बहुत अच्छे तरह स्वागत करेंगे। शुभांशु की सकुशल वापसी हो गई, क्या कहेंगे?
हम लोग के लिए बहुत गर्व का पल है। शुक्ला परिवार का शुक्ला जी का बेटा
There is Sławomir Uznański-Wiśniewski of
बस अब
Poland.
मिलने की मुलाकात है, अभी तक जो है आने की वो थी, अब मिलने की अपेक्षा है। बस जितनी जल्दी मिलेंगे उतनी जल्दी मिलेंगे हमसे। जब वो आ रहे थे लैंड हो रहे थे उस टाइम पे काफी प्रार्थना कर रहे थे मन ही मन में, क्या कुछ तो अब ईश्वर से प्रार्थना करते हैं कि वही सब कुछ ले आवे, यही हमारे लिए। ये देखो आराम से शुभांशु के पिताजी तुम्हारे साथ है सर, जिस तरीके से हाथों में
On long-duration missions, but also for enabling safe and sustainable exploration beyond low Earth orbit. The Ignis mission reflects Poland's strategic investment in cutting-edge science and its ambition to contribute meaningfully to the future of deep space travel. It also signals a broader shift in Europe's space landscape, where emerging space nations are taking on increasingly vital roles